Hello, everybody, and welcome to the elimination race here at Vegas. Round one elimination for the Apex Sim Sports Racing 120 in Las Vegas. I got my co-star Alex in the booth with me. How's it going there, Alex?
Evening. That's not too bad. Kind of excited for tonight. Looking forward to it for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one here at Las Vegas. Hot and slippery tonight, and a lot of drivers practicing their pit lane entries. We're closing off the the end of practice and going to start qualifying here in just a few. But we got a lot of stories here tonight, there, Alex. We got playoffs, points, the elimination, obviously tonight. So a lot can happen. I'll post that on the screen right now. After Charlotte last week, a lot of drivers on the cut line. See Nathaniel, Kyle, even Mazzella, I would say, are pretty safe. I'll give them that. They're probably pretty safe on the positions that they're in right now. But you go down the order: Kevin Ritchie +7, Swartz +6, Peters +2, and then you get a few guys who are out, which is pretty unexpected, especially the way that they've run most of last season and this year so far. With Matt Frady -2, hometown favorite, so he's looking for a good day here in Vegas. Randy Arms had a not great race and a really unlucky moment to start Charlotte. He's looking to bounce back. He's -7. Casey Brown -15. Same thing with Landon Quisenberry. And a little bit further down, you see Brandon and Michael Cochrane down there, minus mid-20s. So they're looking for a big day. Actually, I don't know if they're here. Brandon might not be. I don't know if those drivers are here. So there's a lot can happen. We'll post it up here before we go green so everybody can get one final look at it. And we'll keep you guys updated during the day. We're watching Glenn Murphy go around the track right now. One driver I'm waiting for. Ran a good amount of B fix this week. And I'm hearing, Alex, that you actually ran a few this week as well. So you can give us some good talking points. But Matt Frady, his hometown, Las Vegas, he has driven around this track actually in a stock car, which was back in the way olden days, I guess, like 2015. And I don't know when, but he used to work here for the Richard Petty driving school. So Matt Frady going out on the racetrack now. Let's ride on board with him. Well, once it gets up to speed, then you could talk us through it here, Alex, and tell us what you learned from Las Vegas during the week.
Yeah, definitely going to be an interesting one tonight. Like I mentioned before, or like you mentioned before. Yeah, did a couple B fix this week. Got to learn the track a little bit, and yeah, it's quite fun. I'll tell you that. It's definitely going to be tough for a lot of these drivers. It's going to get quite loose at some points, especially if you can't find a way to drive through the bumps. That's a big thing tonight. That middle groove where you really want to be, and where most of the speed is tonight, there's a little bit of a bumpiness to it. We'll see what Matt Frady here. Right there, like I said, middle line is where a lot of the speed's going to be, but you can see that wheel twitching back and forth quite a lot. That's him just trying to drive over the bumps and try not to and get too loose by it. You don't want to drive in there too deep because the back of the car will slip out because of those bumps. But we'll see here from Matt Frady. Like I mentioned before, run the middle, try to carry as much speed as you can. It's not too much of a worry of if you're going to drift up to the outside wall here, one of those tracks where it doesn't really affect you as much. But the bumps can catch you out if you hit the entry wrong. There's kind of like a little sweet spot, if you will. You kind of want to run almost half the car on the bumps and half the car right above those bumps. So you're kind of 50-50 on that line there. That's where it kind of feels the best. At least in BFX, that's how it is. It might be a little bit different for the setup tonight for some of these drivers, but seeing a little bit of that here tonight already with Matt Frady already putting a good qualifying time, P5 on the board right now.
Yep.
Less than a tenth from the current provisional poll.
Top 6 in the points, or top 6 on the field, is within a tenth of a second. Mazzella there in P7th. Jake Pitagaro. He's Jake. We've been helping him a little bit. Jake is teammates with Matt as Lindsay goes second on the board. Nathaniel goes top of the board and puts Kyle, provisional pole sitter, a few seconds ago, more than a tenth off. But Jake is actually a very good lap for Jake. I'm very shocked about that beating drive. Actually, quite a few playoff drivers. Kevin Ritchie 7/10 off. Tiller at the bottom there. Quisenberry, Brown, Swartz, Sampo, who's usually very quick. So Jake actually with a great lap there. I think he's still out on the racetrack. Nope, he's going to pull her down. This is one guy I do want to talk to sometime tonight. So Jake finishing off his lap, 17 laps, just getting a few more in. Parker stopped. McElroy going out here. Greg Elliott, 8 seconds left. He should be able to get to line P11 right now. Will he improve? Doesn't look like it, but qualifying is up. And it's going to put Nathaniel on the pole. Pretty much safe. I mean, if we go back to the points, Nathaniel is pretty safe heading into it. Jared Lindsay's not in the playoffs, but is looking for the wins. Kyle Ritchie is, we'll say, on the safer side. But as we get to the rundown to the field, let's take a look at it.
Yeah, like you mentioned before, Cabe, Nathaniel Lane, we're pretty safe tonight. Going to be starting on the pole on his outside. Going to be Jared Lindsay, not in the playoffs, but still fighting for good results. Kyle Ritchie, we saw a provisional pole sitter earlier, drops back to P3 after great laps from two guys in front of him, with league owner Randy Arms down in P4. Glenn Murphy Jr. down in P5, with Lilith Peters looking to gain some good points tonight, only 2 points above the cutoff line. With Matt Frady, we saw him riding along with him in practice down in, or qualifying in P7, with Parker Malone down in 8th, Jonathan Mazzella and Jake Pittangoro down in P10. Good qualifying effort from him. Right behind him down in P11, we got the 38 of Greg Elliott with Trevor Arshmanoth in 12th. Jonathan Schwartz down in P13 and Randy Sample in the 24 in 14th. Casey Brown in the iconic John Deere 88 that we've seen all the time be beautiful as ever down in 15th, with Michael Cochran down in 16th right next to him. Landon Quisenberry looking to get some good points for himself tonight. Not a good qualifying effort from him, but needs all the places he could get, with Ryan Tiller starting on his outside. Kevin Ritchie, saw him actually for a quick second not have himself a good qualifying. Ended up in the wall right next to Wyatt Garrett. Unfortunately, my co-host actually did not qualify tonight, so he's going to be starting 21st. Not actually a part of the race, but just going to be here with Chris Walker, newcomer into the series, I believe, down in P22nd. And Michael McElroy, one of the few people to not put down a qualifying lap. Surprisingly, almost everybody, barred 2 drivers tonight, of the 22 starting drivers, put in a qualifying lap tonight. So that is tonight's starting order for the Apex Sports Sim Sports Racing 120 here at Las Vegas.
Yeah, pace field is set. And I messed up when I joined and it hit spectate, so I kind of messed that up. So my apologies to everybody there. But with Randy's name there, I'm going to move back up there. But, yeah, so I ended up messing up, so I apologize on that part. But, yeah, it won't even be noticeable. So, as the field rolls off, Choose Cone is going to be at the start-finish line. Go ahead and talk to us a little bit about the strategy. How much do tires wear, when that stage is going to be at here tonight, Alex, and kind of what's your idea as these drivers get going green?
Well, one thing I did notice is if you can take care of your tires, it takes a little bit for these tires to wear out. You can probably go about, I'd say 20 to 25 laps before they start like really falling off if you save them just a little bit. But they will start to feel some fall off, definitely, as you get later in the runs. Stage is going to be between lap 40 and 50 tonight, so I'm not too sure if these drivers can make it on fuel tonight. Not sure. There's only 70% fuel in these race cars, so not exactly sure. If I remember correctly, you could only go, you can go about 50 laps. So yeah, I don't think these drivers are going to make it tonight on fuel to the stage, so we may see some pit stops. Tires definitely going to be a factor though later on in the run.
Well, hopefully that is the plan. It's going to be a hot one here in Vegas. It is elimination race time. Round 1 of the playoffs. Who's going to be eliminated? Who's going to make it to the second round? We are green for Vegas. Good restart between the top 2. Everybody side by side as we go through 1 and 2 here for the moment. Looks like a big gaggle of cars right here. Restarts are crazy here at Las Vegas. It's one of the higher speed mile and a halfs. A lot of room that these drivers can go. We're going to try to follow along with everybody, but Nathaniel gets cleared. Lindsay back to second. Randy trying to work the outside of Kyle Ritchie, who's looking to just kind of have a good day. Doesn't have to have a great day, but the guy that does need a good day is Randy Arms. Has to run here, finish, I'm going to guess, top 5 in the race and top 5 in the stage. Same thing with Matt Frady. He's probably just got to finish top, just in the stage at least, and having a decent run. He can't have any big mistakes tonight, but Lilith is trying to defend him. These are the two that are battling on the edge for that last spot in the playoffs.
Yeah, we saw early aggressiveness last week take out a couple of these drivers really early, and it really affected some of these playoff drivers with their point situation. For example, Randy Arms, saw him last week, wrecked pretty early on, and it ended his chances at really good points very early on last week. So look to see some maybe less aggression from some of these drivers a little early on, but I'm sure we'll see it pick up as we go on, as we see a move from Jared Lindsay to take the lead from Nathaniel Landwehr.
Yeah, Jared, not really a slide job, but was able to get to the bottom. We saw as we were running on board with Randy, he clipped the apron just a little bit. That messed him up, but Nathaniel's going to try to fight back on Jared, but we'll see how hard that these drivers push. It's going to be a good run for these tires, especially with Vegas, which is not one of the newer racetracks, but it's not old. But the asphalt here, because it's in Vegas and the sun on it, it gets a lot of wear over the years and definitely burns up tires. You see Matt a little bit sideways there. So these cars definitely aren't handling good. And with as long as of a run here, we're going to have any time from 40 to 50, that stage could happen. So we'll see how those cars are driving by that part and see if fuel or tires come into play more than what comes in play more.
Yeah, I was going to say, we'll also be looking out for where can people make moves. From my experience here the last week or so, you were kind of able to make moves, I wouldn't say anywhere, but seeing as you kind of want to run that middle line for like the most optimal speed, you kind of give way to let people make moves on the outside or the inside. For my own racing, I was able to make a lot of moves on the outside actually. You're able to carry just a little bit more momentum over the guy in the middle, and if you were able to just sneak up top but actually stay towards the middle and kind of force the driver you're racing to go a little bit lower than they want to on the bumps, it actually makes for you a very easy move on the outside. So we'll see if any of these drivers decide to make use of that and make use of those little bumps down in the middle of the track. So as you see here from Kyle Ritchie, almost doing exactly what I said, kind of running the middle but going to force the driver a little bit lower down to make the move. As you see Nathaniel Landwehr looking on the inside of Jared Lindsay, almost gives him a little bit of a bump there off the exit of the corner, but they stay clean.
That looked a lot closer than I think it was, but the top 3, 7 laps in, are under a blanket. We usually start to see the tire fall off happen from 10 to 12, and then we really see who's going to start to have that long run speed as it fans out. But right now, everybody really close together, the whole top 10 within a second of each other. So Randy moves into second spot. Nathaniel drops back. Like I said, Nathaniel and a few of these guys who are pretty locked in on points and pretty well off, like Nathaniel, not really looking to have a big day. Can just kind of give up the spots, make it to the end. If he wrecks, that's when the problem happens. No fast repairs, so he's not going to be able to get back out there. So Nathaniel just playing it smart. Kyle Ritchie doing close to the same thing. See Lilith Peters goes to his outside. But Matt Frady already down a few spots from where he started, back to P10.
Yeah, I was going to say, surprised to see him drop a couple of spots early. We know he needs whatever points he can get, especially in the stage, but this also could just be a little bit of a plan to save some tire and maybe use it for later on in the stage to gain some time, because like I said, the tires will start to wear off once we get towards basically the midway point before we get to our stage window. So yeah, we'll see if that's just a little bit of a plan of his, or if that's just really quick tire fall off more than we were expecting, and maybe he just doesn't have the pace we think he has tonight.
Yeah, so the field is kind of spread out. Not really spread out, but got in single file, but within a car or two of everybody. So we're starting to see a few drivers going up the racetrack, like Mazzella there in that orange 41, moving to the top lane. Another playoff driver, but a little bit further back, we see Casey Brown, Quisenberry, Kevin Ritchie. These 3 on your screen right now, they're all looking for a good points day. I'll bring it up once again. You see, those are the few that are down on the points. So Kevin Ritchie, only +7, can't have a bad day. And right now, running 15th and out of the stage points is not going to help him. So we'll see how the stage flips everything. And we're not going to end the broadcast until we have the official word on who made the next round of the playoffs. So this could be big for Kevin if he's not able to get these stage points. That could be the biggest loss of the night. Not running it hard early. Same thing with Matt Ferrady. He's sitting P10 behind Swartz as he's underneath Parker Malone. But it's looking to be kind of a stage point battle. That was the question heading into tonight. How aggressive do you be early to try to keep that track position and stay in the stage points? But then how much do you want to try to push and push the problems if you're really wanting those stage points to lock yourself in a little bit more points? See Matt really on the bottom lane. Pretty much the lowest car in 3 and 4, and he looks to have a lot of speed down there. He's behind Swartz and Parker Malone. Matt and Parker more than likely have raced each other at the Las Vegas Bull Ring just on the exit of turn 2 in real life here. So Parker, good to have him joining. I'll be racing him in 2 weeks in real life, so we'll see Parker on iRacing. Parker gives it to him there as we go to Jonathan Mazzella following Lilith Peters there on the inside.
Yeah, another one of these drivers who we know is going to need some good points tonight. Doesn't need to be amazing. Obviously, +10 up on the cutoff line right now. Some good stage points would benefit him and give him a little bit more of a buffer, but doesn't need an amazing result as compared to some of the other drivers who are like Lilith Peters, who's right in front of him. She needs a great night to get as many points as he can, so she's going to try to look to push more than likely to get as many stage points as she can, because yeah, a lot of these guys are going to have to start looking a little bit worried of where they are once we get closer to the stage.
You see Kyle starting to move up the racetrack there. A few cars starting to go up the racetrack, and a few staying committed to the bottom, so that could be a tire-saving strategy. Now Kyle goes to the inside of Jonathan Mazzella. Big move there. Kyle, could he get clear? He's clear for now, but not going to be able to do it. Didn't pull a Tristan McGee and blame it on the spotter when you hook somebody. So he stayed on the bottom of the racetrack there. Back up to the front few. We're fighting. We're fighting up front, all within 0.2 of a second. Randy started to move up the racetrack. Nathaniel is just trying to go wherever they are. More than likely, both of them are going to go bottom and one goes top, but that's going to help Mazzella, or that's going to help Landwehr there going to the bottom. But it just doesn't seem like that bottom is too good. Well, it worked out for him there. Let's right on board here with Nathaniel as he's following, trying to get around the 2 cars in front of him. Going to get all over Randy's back bumper. Randy's going to get sideways, and that's what's great about these Xfinity cars, is you can play with the car in front of you and kind of disturb their air. Tell us a little bit about that, Alex, how you can mess with the car in front of you and clean air and dirty air.
Yeah, that dirty air is definitely going to be really tricky. It's when you get pretty close to somebody, like you really don't want to be directly behind somebody going into the corner, because that car will just begin to plow and you're going to have to lift off so much and lose all the momentum you had going into the corner. I mean, we saw it right there when Randy Arms got really close to Jared Lindsay. Kind of had to lift and lost the momentum. You can see here losing a place to Nathaniel Landwehr there. So yeah, dirty air is definitely a big factor for these guys. If I'm Nathaniel Landwehr, I like what he's doing right now, just trying to pick a different lane and not get caught up in that air and just get a little bit cleaner on the nose to keep his momentum up and not have to lift as much and try to get himself a good run on Jared Lindsay. So yeah, like you mentioned, those top 3 right now are starting to battle. Randy Arms falling a little bit farther back, but as we move farther through the field, we see a little bit of a battle here with Jonathan Schwartz, Kyle Ritchie, Jonathan Mazzella, and Matt Frady. 4 guys who are fighting for every point they can get right now. Not really having to worry about getting a massive amount of points, but every point will still matter for those 4 drivers.
Yeah, riding right next to, well, actually Kyle is on the bottom there. He's looking for a hole. Doesn't have it yet, but he's looking to make something happen. I mean, you have a lot. This track gotten really racy with the Xfinity cars, which a lot of the official races this week, if anybody ran them, it was more in the nighttime. So had a little bit more grip, probably not as hot. We're not sure on the exact temp. We'll have to message our stat guy and the temperature wizard man on the news. But we'll try to see that. But it seems like the sun is out. It's going to be staying as a day race, so this track's going to keep getting slick. Even if the sun does set, though, it's going to take it a bit for the track to cool down even later in the race with 100 laps to go still here in Vegas.
Yeah, just heard in from our weather guy. Since the sun is starting to set a little bit, you can kind of almost see the sun starting to set behind the horizon there, getting a little lower. Track temp is currently 93 degrees right now, so not as hot as you would think, but still a little bit hot to where these drivers are going to have to make sure they don't burn their stuff up too quick. As we ride on board with Jared Lindsay, we saw him get made a move on by Nathaniel Landwehr to go back to the lead, so those two pretty much pulling a pretty big gap to the rest of the cars behind him. So safe to say that these two have the pace tonight and gonna be ones to look out for come to the end of the race when we get past the stage and the laps start ticking down.
Yeah, so Nathaniel goes to lead. He kind of backed off, started saving. Randy Arms back to fourth. Glenn Murphy got around Randy there and started to work his way in it. Running P3, ran with us the last few weeks. Not in the playoffs, but is one of the fastest here. Every week he's shown up. So Glenn up to P3. Hasn't qualified the best, but has ran very good and closes in later and later into the race. And now we're starting to see a lot of drivers go off the racetrack. Lilith Peters, first one to bite and come to pit road.
Yeah, not super surprising to see pretty much splitting the stage. It's only lap 23, and we see the max laps before the stage caution is going to come out as lap 50. So pretty much just preparing for the stage to come out at the latest time. I wouldn't say it's a horrible move to be the first on pit lane, but I wouldn't prefer it. I'd rather be one of the drivers to pit maybe a couple of laps later and have a little bit more edge when you get to the later end of the stage if the caution doesn't come out right away. Oh, and I saw a little bit of contact there from Nathaniel Landwehr from the outside wall on the exit of 4 there. It doesn't look like any damage, but a pretty decent hit off the exit of the corner.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it right now. Definitely is not helping him, but he should be okay. But yeah, as you were saying about the pit strategy, it's definitely an interesting call. It's got opportunity and chance to work, but we've seen her do a lot of different strategies. Usually, it ends up working out for her, which is something that you don't see a lot in iRacing. But you're going to see 2 cars to pit road. Almost had a Ty Dillon moment as... Who was that to pit road? It was Swartz and Randy Arms to pit road. Hopefully they called that out in time, but that was a lot closer than I think that everybody would have wished. Thought we were going to see an elimination of the playoffs like Byron had. But Swartz, good stop for him. Same thing with Randy. Into the box he goes. Now who's going to come to pit road? I think this is where it really opens up. We saw a lot of cars pit. Lindsay is going to be really loose now. Glenn is really pulled up to the back bumper of Jared. These two not fighting for anything, so they have a little bit more excuse to run as hard as they can. But Matt Frady still P5, hasn't pitted yet. A lot of these drivers still kind of on the bubble. Same thing with Kyle Ritchie. He's in that weird window. Like, does he pit? Does he try to stay conservative? Does he try to keep his points? He's on the bottom of the racetrack. He could pit. He's not going to now. Still nobody else to bite. So a lot of change here so far. Lilith Peters, first one a lap down. Then Swartz is a little bit further back. Then Randy Arms. So tires seems to be big here tonight as pit stops are starting to get underway.
It's like I mentioned before, this is kind of the sweet spot when those tires start to degrade and you can feel the car getting a little bit more loose and not having as much grip on exit. So, like I mentioned before, I would say it's an amazing call by Lilith Peters to pit so early, because now you give everybody else an advantage to go a little bit farther than you and have some better tires towards the end of the run as we see Jonathan Mazzella enter the pits. It's going to start being a domino effect now, honestly, where you see one person come in and everybody else is slowly just going to trickle in and realize, yeah, I need to get off these tires and save and have good tires for the end of the stage, because you don't want to be the guy with the super old tires that ends up really falling back towards the end of the stage and losing out on any positions you get for some stage points here. So if there are any guys in the field right now who I think would choose the interesting strategy of staying out as long as possible, I would honestly think Jared Lindsay and Nathaniel Landwehr would be those two guys to make the call, because we've seen it in the past before from those two drivers that they're not afraid to make some interesting strategy calls. But we'll see what they do here as the the laps start to wind down and we get closer to our stage window.
Yeah, so Matt Frady there gets passed by Lilith, and you can see the tire difference as Lilith is just starting to pull away. Gonna drive underneath. Whoa, that could have been big. Glad to pit road. Right in front of, well, the front runners there. Wyatt had to take evasive action. Did a good job of it. So one thing that Kyle, if you're in Kyle, there's two different scenarios here going on. Looks like Kyle has backed off and is really saving a good amount of tire. Or Nathaniel. Nathaniel is usually one guy who likes to kind of play the middle ground. He always has the speed, doesn't really have to worry about anybody else, just straight up beating him on speed. So getting unlucky, and as I was going to say it, we see Kyle Ritchie and Matt Frady to pit road, two guys that like to wait a little bit longer than a lot of drivers, but if they're able to make it to lap 43, they might play the gamble if that caution comes out and stay out. But they're going to come down pit road and have 10 laps until that window opens for the stage and see if they're able to make it up. But they're to pit road. Same thing with Jake, their teammate. So interesting calls here. We'll see who's going to be the next person to bite. Doesn't look like
I actually kind of like that. I like that strategy call right there by Kyle Ritchie and Matt Frady. I don't know. I think this is that little like maybe 2-3 lap window where I'd say that the call would be right to come in, because now you'll have enough fresh tires to really push to the end of the stage now if you really want to. But you're also not out for too long to where the guys who pit earlier are going to get much of an advantage and pull on you. But as I say that, Nathaniel Landwehr's going to come into pit lane. Well, one of the few drivers still yet to pit.
That's what I wanted to talk about, was because if you look where I just had him on the screen, Randy Arms, P11, just unlapped himself. But a little bit further back, Lilith Peters still has not pit, or she came to pit road, was the first car to pit road, and has a 3-second gap over Swartz, and now we're starting to see all the pit stops happen. So first one to pit road, being Lilith, has definitely helped her a lot. And if we go to Randy and Swartz, there they are. Okay, they're at the start-finish line now. Frady, Kyle, Casey Brown, they're all at the line 10 seconds later now. So tires are pretty big, and I don't think Matt and Kyle are going to be able to get to the few cars who have pitted, like Randy and Swartz. They're half a track behind here. Is Lindsay still on the racetrack? Could see a pit stop, but I don't know for sure. See Nathaniel back here. So Nathaniel, I mean, he's not really worried about points. He knows he's in a good spot for it and could just go for the win, but still is in a window. Still has to play it safe.
Yeah, he pretty much needs a disastrous rest of the day for him to be any close on that cutoff line. Like you said, got a 34-point gap right now to that cutoff line. So would pretty much need to score no stage points and then, you know, obviously not trying to jinx anybody, but would need to. Oh my goodness, as I say that, we got Kevin Ritchie coming to pit road. Oh, a little bit sideways.
On the apron, coming to pit road, way sideways. Sorry to cut you off there, Alex. Way sideways was, he's going to have left front damage, but he knows the stage is coming. I mean, it hurts him. There's no way he gets stage points now, but I don't think that hurts him as bad as what you might think.
Yeah, I was gonna say the left front is not really gonna affect him as much if it was right front damage. I'd say he should be a little bit more worried, but that left front might not affect him too much. But yeah, he's only got a 7-point buffer to the line right now. So one of the drivers who we're gonna need a good amount of stage points to get a little bit more above the line, but looks like he's unfortunately not going to be able to make it above that line, especially we're all on lap 37, so we're 3 laps from entering the window of stage. Who knows? It could be the first lap of the window, or it could be all the way on lap 50. We'll see how it pans out, and we'll see as the laps tick down whose strategy works out the best. Like you said before, Lilith Peters, the first one to come to pit road. She is now effectively in the lead. The other current top 4 have not pit yet. She is running them down. I don't think it'll be enough to catch them before the stage ends, but using those tires that she got earlier than the rest of the field to try to make her way through the front and try to take a stage win.
Oh, Kyle Ritchie had to take some evasive action. Oh, Lord, it's a little tight off of the floor. But Kyle Ritchie able to get around Lindsay, who is the leader. So I was just going to mention it. Matt Frady just unlapped himself, but his worst case scenario in this race is happening. The worst thing would have been Kevin being the yellow right there. Luckily, he wasn't. But Matt just unlapped himself. Same thing with Kyle, Casey Brown as well. But if we go back to the points, Matt's worst nightmare is happening. Look at where that one car of Lilith Peters is. If the three in front pit, that is a big swing for between Randy Arms and Frady. Because Lilith is already 6th. Their next chance, pretty much, if she gets this stage win, is Swartz. But look at where Swartz is running. 2nd. So, them getting beat by both of these two is big for the points. Their biggest, I guess, way that they have to calculate it then would be Mazzella, who's still 9th and going to be in the stage points. And then Kevin Ritchie. Kevin just put himself in a bad spot here after that point situation. So, this could be big flip with Lilith Peters getting this stage win.
Yeah, I was gonna say she's now gonna almost be in the lead at the moment. We see Greg Elliott entering the pits. Jared Lindsay just made his pit stop, so Greg Elliott now in the provisional lead, but will lose it. Trevor in the 89 will, I believe, take over the lead now, but
Kevin in the outside wall.
Lilith Peters is... Oh.
Kevin at the outside wall there in 3 and 4. That thing is not driving good for him anymore. And he's just going to try to limp her around. Really got up in the marbles, I think. And just did not turn. Yeah, that thing just did not turn all the way to the wall.
Yeah, that left front, as you see right there, get a little bit loose off the exit of 2 and runs down to the bottom. That car is not performing. You can even see the left front just bouncing there. It almost looks like he's got a little bit more suspension damage than he had before. So, yeah, not the night that he needs. Only, like I said, only 7 above the cut line. Needed good stage points and a good finish to try to get himself the best chance he could get tonight. But unfortunately, not looking good for that 51 car.
Yeah, we're going to watch Randy Arms here. He sees Nathaniel go right by him, but he needs every spot he can to hold off for those points as he's trying to catch Kevin Ritchie, who should be out. So that, where they're running right now, this is going to be close. You see on the left side of your screen, we're focused on Randy Arms. Few cars back is Matt Frady. There is a 5-point gap in between them. But with Kevin possibly getting knocked out, and there's the caution. So Matt gets stage points. Kyle gets stage points. Mazzella as well gets stage points. Randy gets a good buff. But the biggest winner of it is Lilith Peters. Gets P2.
No, she actually does. I was gonna say Trevor in the 89. I was just gonna point out that he was cutting the fuel off to that car. He was riding the clutch in 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 in the corners to save fuel. I even heard it over his driver radio that he was not expecting that to work. So good play by him. Obviously not really fighting for anything, just here to battle for a win, but great fuel strategy and somehow able to make it work. So giving Lilith Peters, taking a little bit of points away from the rest of the field that could have been valuable to some of these drivers. And I got an update too. Kevin Ritchie has officially DNF'd from this race. So more than likely after tonight ends, he will be out of the playoffs. Like I said, 7 points a lot of these drivers can make up 7 points tonight. So especially even at this stage, including Lilith Peters. So he could potentially fall to 6th at the moment with how the stage fell. So yeah, more than likely will be out tonight. We'll see for sure once the race ends. But as of now, currently DNF'd from the race.
Yeah, that is big for playoffs. Had such a good season. P2 finish behind his brother at Darlington. But you're going to see everybody come down pit road. That opens up the door for a lot of different drivers here. But Mr. Pitboard himself, Trevor, is coming into the box now. We'll take a sneak peek at it here. See if he can have a good stop. Also got him track position. Luckily cannot see it. That kind of sucks.
I was gonna say I wasn't sure if this was the fun pit board that we saw last week, but I guess it is. So
Yeah. So he comes down pit road. We'll see if he's able to win the race off of pit road. A few drivers that just pitted and stayed out with Malone and Elliott, so they could be just getting the waves as well. But Trevor wins the race off of pit road, and it's a mess off of pit road now.
Yeah, I was
Lot of
gonna
cars.
say the more I think about it, what a interesting call. I was surprised to see somebody actually stay out for the stage and make it work. But honestly, this is gonna play out massively into his favor. I do not believe he actually might be on the lap. I believe, or I should still be the leader. I think everybody came down pit road there, so yeah, should be the winner here for the stage and back to the lead once we get back green here.
Yeah, so we're coming to the stage here. Well, one guy I want to talk about, Jake, kind of a part-time guy. Let's drag him in here. Jake, do you got a copy?
What's up, Cabe?
Well, we see that you're having a pretty decent day. One of our part-time runners. Talk to us about a little bit about your race so far. We've been sneaking, peeking on a few drivers. It's been wild up front, but tell us how your race has been so far.
It's been pretty good. I mean, you've been racing with me a while. I think we know I'm not going to win this race, but 2,500 straight of the field. So, no, getting a lot of good hits from Matt, and Parker's in the chat with me too. So, I'm just kind of feeding off those guys. But yeah, it's going pretty good. I had some practice this week but.
Go ahead. You're good. Well, I know that, obviously you have Matt and Parker in there helping you, and Matt's been a big help to you. But with this being a league race, obviously no iRating or anything, but still shows the competition here tonight. You've learned a lot from official races and Matt spotting for you and everything, but tell us, what have you learned from the league races compared to the officials, because it's such a competitive field in the league races, obviously, like you said, 2,500 SOF.
Yeah, I mean, the league races are just so much better. Everyone races every week, so they know how people race each other and who's going to race them tough. So, I mean, when you get in the officials, it's just completely random and people don't care as much. So, you kind of have to mind your P's and Q's in this one, because you can hear about it later in the Discord. So,
yeah, that definitely makes it fun. Well, you're coming back to the restart, so good luck. Hopefully, we'll be talking to you here in a little bit.
All right, Gabe, later.
Cool talking there with Jake, but it's going to be a new front row. Parker Malone and Greg Elliott going to lead them back to the green. Stage complete, and we're ready to go another 75 laps to see who's going to be eliminated here at Vegas. Ooh, contact. Not a good restart for the inside row. Trevor kind of not really missed a shift, but spun the tires a good bit. Parker and Greg just pitted, so they were able to stay out. Going to have a little less of the tire. Now, how aggressive do they get? See Parker throw the fake. Now he's going to go back to the outside. Nathaniel goes to the inside of Trevor. Trevor tries to block it. And they're fighting hard here at the front of the field.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think the aggressiveness is going to start to pick up here. Points are going to start mattering now, and everybody's going to want to get every spot they can, especially knowing that the earlier pit strategy seems to be the best play call here for a lot of these drivers in terms of their pit stops. So they may just say YOLO and start burning off whatever they can early and just coming down pit road. Not early as possible, but, earlier than the rest of the field, because it seems to work out quite well. Especially, I think we'll see that when we get towards the latter stages of the race, and once we get to maybe the last pit stop of the race, I would say you want to be the first guy into pit road. So, yeah, aggressiveness going to start picking up here as we... we've got a little bit of contact in the back of the field. Landon Quisenberry.
What happened there?
Making contact there on the front stretch. Oh, a little bit of a bump there from the 23 of Ryan Tiller, and he gets sideways, almost taking out the 18 of Jared Lindsay, able to keep it straight. Yeah, what a great save there, but losing very valuable spots that he needs. I'm sorry, that was not the 23 of Ryan Tiller. That was 23 of Walker. Yeah, my apologies. We got two 23s on the field tonight, but unfortunate for him, needs a can get currently only 15 below the cutoff line. So, yeah, not in a great position himself right now as we're right on board with the 89 of Trevor.
You can see how bright that sun is, and as it sets, where Las Vegas is, it starts to set. As they kind of come off the corner, you'll see the sun glare, and it gets bad. It's all the way on the front straightaway. See the sun over it, which I do have the settings to where it doesn't blind you, but if any of these drivers have not changed it, you'd be blind all the way down the front straightaway and off the exit of turn 4 And we're already seeing a lot of cars start to move around this racetrack early and go up the racetrack. Same thing with, well, Casey Brown, Swords, Matt Brady. A lot of these guys back here are in the playoffs or were running up front, but just got unlucky with that pit strategy.
Yeah, I think them pitting later on didn't really help him as much because, like I said, or like you said, they're a little bit farther back from the rest of the field and the people who pit a lot earlier, and it seems to play out, especially in the stage. It might be a little bit different now that we have a little bit of a longer run ahead of us, so it could be different as we go on. So don't be surprised if we see, like I said, we see some more interesting strategy or. Um, if we see some interesting racing here for some of these guys, try to get whatever places they can get that they missed out on earlier in the stage.
Yeah, and I mean, we see a lot of different deals going on with the different speeds and strategy. Greg Elliott still out front ahead of Nathaniel Landwehr. Hasn't caught him yet. Parker Malone, who stayed out as well, running on the outside of Randy, will have a good run because he is on the outside, will have a nose. So pitting a little bit late, kind of got lucky a little bit, but honestly, for a lap or two, older tires, they're doing a great job holding it up front. Trevor really struggling here, though. Dropping through the field, they're going to be 3 wide on corner exit. Matt's going to get into the outside wall, and Matt is not having a good night. We knew if he made it to that final round was going to be competitive. Known for his short track, more of a short track specialist, Matt Frady, and if he made it to Martinsville, that's a really good track for him. Has a lot of laps around Phoenix, really good there, but right now is just struggling. Has not had the speed most of the night. Finished 10th in the stage, 10th or 8th in the stage, so not a lot of stage points for him, but he's still running P12 with not much happening. But pretty quiet day for Kyle Ritchie, which I think he can agree and say has been great for him. Same thing with Nathaniel, still in second, but there's a battle here for that top 4 spot between 3 cars, which is Parker Malone, Greg Glenn Murphy, and Kyle Ritchie. Kyle rolls the inside well. Parker doing a great job on the outside, trying to hold off some of these guys who have run all season long. But Parker's doing a great job, even on the older tires, a little bit bumpy. See the bumps on the bottom lane and how Parker is. You can either roll the very bottom and go underneath the bumps or go right above them. But you never want to run that very middle lane, as Parker's going to look to the inside of Kyle into 3. But Kyle should be able to clear rolling that higher line, and he does. Now, let's see who has the speed. And now that the tires have got some wear on them, who's saved and who has been burning them off?
Yeah, only 64 to go. So I don't think we'll see any pit stops within the next 5 laps or anything, but maybe within the next 10 to 20 laps we'll see some drivers come in and maybe try to split the rest of the race from there. Definitely going to be a 2-stop, though. I don't know if anybody's going to try to extend this as long as possible and take just one more set of tires, considering just how much wear there seems to be towards the end of a run. So, I don't know. A 2-stop strategy here might be the name of the game here for these drivers.
Yeah, you see Kyle working the inside of Murphy there. Lilith having a good but quiet day, which is pretty good for momentum. You never want to be kind of the star of the show and have a target on your back, but you want to make it to that second round and have good momentum heading into it. Lilith, really good point swing for her. And now we got a battle between the playoff drivers, Mazzella as well. Not as good as he normally runs, usually kind of from that 5th to 7th range. Right now inside the top 10, but a little bit further back than we normally see him. Usually can get up to 3rd by the end of these races and be part of those crazy green-white checkered finishes. Mazzella in P9 now. Hasn't really moved up a lot of spots either, so Mazzella looking for a good run here. He's going to go to the outside of Parker, tries to throw a crossover, and there's a gaggle of cars behind him. Lindsay might try to push Jonathan, but thought better of it through the trial.
Yeah, a bit of a battle going on here, and while that was happening, there was a pass for the lead. Nathaniel Landwehr and Randy Arms able to get past Greg Elliott about a lap ago. So just as I start talking about tires, it appears to me that Greg Elliott's burned off a lot of that stuff he's got going on. Had about 6/10 of a second lead earlier to Nathaniel Landwehr, but that those tires seem to have fallen off a little bit, and he is starting to fall back into the grips of the rest of the top 5.
Yeah, and we're starting to see a lot of drivers start to just try to figure out where they want to be. Kyle starting to really push. Murphy starting to move as well. You see Elliott starting to drop back. Like you mentioned, starting to burn up the tires a little bit, but is on the few lap older tires. Kyle's going to go to the outside now. Ooh, that got a little bit tight there. Could have a 3 wide into 1. Murphy going to play it smart, though. Not going to be too aggressive on it. Here goes the 3 wide. Kyle with a big crossover, a little sideways. Now they're 3 wide. Let's see, where does Swartz go? He goes to the top side, so he's going to try to follow Elliott. Kyle's going to get Murphy on his door. He's going to get a little bit tight. Now where does Swartz go? Lindsay, this is allowing her to catch up. Swartz is going to go to the inside. Swartz, another driver, looking to make sure he's in the playoff spot. Ooh, that was a little bit close there. These drivers are putting it all on edge. These two are pretty close on the point. Swartz 6 up, and right now would be in. Both of these drivers on the screen right now are in. When I take away this leaderboard, the person on the right, if we look at the points though, as they are, this will be one of the last times. I'll do it a little bit later. But if we kick out Kevin Ritchie, K.E. Ritchie, move him out and move everybody up. Right now, it would technically be Matt in, but with Randy running second, that's a big swing from where Matt is and the stage point. So Matt, swap him and Randy in, so as my brain is calculating it right now, it would be Lilith in, Swartz, and Arms are the final 3 in. So right now, Matt looking to figure something out, because right now he has nothing, no chance at the moment for Matt. Trying different lanes, looks to the outside of Casey Brown, but you see he's fighting that wheel loose. That right rear is not liking it here as the sun is starting to set in Vegas, not adding much grip to that car. With a lot of experience this week in the B fix, that thing is not driving to how he expected it to. Back to the front of the field, Nathaniel, 0.6 of a second. Randy on Murphy, 0.6 of a second. Then chaos for third. Kyle to the bottom. Maybe thought about a slide job, but these things just don't seem to be handling great. Let's ride on board here with Swartz and see how his car is driving a little bit higher up the racetrack. He's definitely loose. Kyle's doing all he can. I love these driver cams. Thank you to these drivers for wearing the helmet cams. I do appreciate it. But you see how bumpy that thing is, and it's just not going to be able to do anything. Swartz able to drive around the outside of Kyle. So the dominant line right now is kind of that middle to top line. A little bit further back. Malone trying to hold off Lindsay. The Mazzella as well. So Mazzella also not having a great day, which could be a possibility as Greg Elliott's coming to pit road. I thought he was spin in, but Greg, great pit road entry, actually. Trevor's starting to come back to it. We're starting to see a few things going on. Swartz making his way through the field. This could be a bit even bigger buffer for him and make sure that he's not eliminated after the all right stage that he had. Very impressed with Peters though. Kind of joined the season after the first race, set off 2 wins, and at Iowa. Then I believe, where did we go after Iowa? We went somewhere. Track completely different.
Yeah.
She showed up at Iowa, Then she won at Dover, I believe. So showed up at Iowa,
Yes,
second race of the
definitely
season.
Dover, definitely
Went to
Dover.
Watkins Glen, then went to Dover and got first multi-win season. Kind of took a few breaks. Obviously, I think won at Gateway as well, but was kind of pretty good during that middle part of the season. And then after that, really hasn't talked much about her since then. But she's showed up when it matters here in this first round of the playoff, the final race, and has been out this whole round, and now is looking for a spot in the championship finale with Talladega, Martinsville, and Phoenix coming up the next 3 weeks. Anything can happen at Talladega. Then we go to 2 short tracks, so we'll see who is going to be the short track ace in those final few races. Right now, everybody doing a good job here so far. Let's who can we talk to who is not maybe in the playoffs or maybe be a little bit safer here? I guess we could talk to Nathaniel and see what his... We never talked to the leader. He's pretty safe on points, so I'm comfortable talking to him. He's experienced in it. You want to go ahead and see what Nathaniel's thinking?
Yeah, let's bring him in here.
All right. Nathaniel, do you got a
Nathaniel Landwill.
Yeah, I got you.
Well, we know you're leading. You're pretty safe on the points already, but we wanted to talk to you. You know that you have the speed pretty much every week. Good buffer. After the stage, you should pretty much be locked in, but you're not going to give it up. But we wanted to have you take us around for a lap here at Las Vegas and kind of tell us a few of your techniques here at these mile and a halves and why you're so good at them.
Alrighty, so take out a lap here. I run this a little differently than most people. There's a lot of bumps down here in one, so I try to go low to avoid them. Give a little brake to slow it down. Get on the gas, get it rotating, pointed, full throttle, come out of the corner straight. Don't burn up those rears. Going into 3 and 4, a lot smoother corner, but I think this is the corner that a lot of people make the most mistakes on. Very easy to mess up. Float it off in there nice and easy. Easy on the gas as it tends to over-rotate on exit. Drive it all straight. And just kind of haul around for another lap. Some pointers I got around here. In order to go fast, you just got to manage the tires. Even one small incident where you overheat the tires will completely change the dynamic of the car over a run. Just kind of like right there, kind of start to get a little loose. If you do that about 3-4 times, it'll completely burn up your right rear and she won't drive good no more.
Yeah, talking about tire saving, you're one of the best at it in this series and seem to always have the tire. You have the speed early in the run and the tire life at the end. Tell us how you try to save tire and where you think that you are better than a lot of these guys out here.
Oh, saving tire. The more I've been on the sim, the more I've realized.
Secrets, but just a few tips for the
No, I got you. You know, the longer I've been on this sim, the longer they always tell you just back up your corners, slow it down, drive easier, and there's truth to that, but you got to kind of manage how much you slow down. Because if I slid back to like P15 at start, running those fresh tires do nothing for me. There's just a fine line you got to balance between. All right, let's pick it up pace and get going, and also slow it down. The line you run will completely change the handling of the car. So if I'm ripping the top the whole time, that'll burn up tires. Get it loose coming off most time. Running the bottom is typically your best way to save tire in most tracks.
Well, we see a big battle going on behind you. That could be your favorite thing that you're seeing in the mirror here. But we'll let you get back after it. We appreciate you talking to us. We figured it'd be kind of fun to talk to the leader and somebody who knows a little bit about how to run these deals. So thank you for the tips and a little insight. We appreciate it, and be talking to you here in a little bit.
Yes, sir. I'll talk to you later.
Daniel there, cool inside, talking with him as the battle for second is on between Randy Arms and Jonathan Swartz. These two have been going at it in the last few laps. That time is slowly closed together. Randy all the way on that top side, ripping the fence in the wall. Such a fun line when you're up there. I know we talk about it most of the weeks that we go to a mile and a half like we did at Kansas and stuff, but riding on board with Glenn, we'll see Randy go back up to the outside line, but the bumps on the top side did not help him through one. Swartz goes to P2. Arms back to third. Murphy trying to capitalize on the mistake from Randy, though.
Yeah, we'll see how much they can actually afford to battle right now because, I mean, it's been a pretty long run since these guys have been. You can see it right here. Randy Arms getting all sorts of loose off the exit of the corner, but such a great run on Glenn Murphy. We'll see if he's able to capitalize on and try to make a move into one. Can he hold the outside? Gonna run towards the middle. We've seen these drivers start to migrate and choose a line almost from the top or the bottom. The middle hasn't been as popular as it was early on in the race, probably just maybe because of the sun pretty much fully setting behind the track now, and a little bit of some cooler temps now. So drivers able to experiment a little bit more. You see Randy Arms sticking the top there, trying to hold the car straight, but he is sideways. At some point, probably within the next 5 to 10 laps, we will see these drivers come in for the last time in this race. So it seems to me I was a little bit wrong on how many pit stops we get to see. So more than likely just going to be one more stop for the rest of the race if these drivers can hold on to it. But Glenn Murphy here riding, or sorry, not Glenn Murphy, Randy Arms still riding on board with him, still all over the place. So yeah, tried to keep up with the rest of the top three there, but it looks like those tires are starting to fall off a little bit too much for a little bit too much pushing there.
Yeah, that rear grip from Randy is not been good. He's a dirt guy, so we know he has the skill and ability to save it, but right now the tires are making that car impossible to have any drive off, and the closer that Kyle gets, it's going to get even looser for Randy. Kyle's going to try to push him down the back straightaway, almost hooked him to the outside wall with a little bump. Now going to go to the inside of Randy. The first one to pit, which was a good call, is Greg Elliott is to the inside. That was a lap down. Greg Elliott pitted a few laps ago. Same thing with Parker Malone. So pit stops are starting to get underway. And something I was just going to mention as she does come to pit road. One of the first to pit before is one of the first to come the second time around. With 40 or 39 laps to go, we're inside that pit window to make it, as we saw from a lot of the drivers. Lilith, one of the first ones to pit, got a great track position and would have won the stage if Trevor would have had to pit, but it came out a little bit early. Now is in the window. This is going to be big. We know tires are a big play. Who's going to be the next few cars to come to pit road?
Yeah, we know these tires can go a little bit longer than we think if you're able to save them. Like, it looks like Nathaniel Lambert is able to keep that car pretty much fully under control. Doesn't seem to be all over the place like some of these other drivers have been with tires. So could be trying to save as much as he can. I mean, I can hear it right now. I'm riding on board with him. He is holding that clutch in, trying to fuel save a little bit and extend this run as much as he can. So he will probably be one of the drivers to pit as late as possible. And just run the car out of gas before he takes it to pit road. So you see the gap closing a little bit, but still over a second. As you hear him, like you said, hear that clutch go in, separate the transmission from the engine, and just drop the revs and try not to use as much fuel. So yeah, look to see him pit a little bit later than the rest of the field.
And he's got that gap to be able to. So less of a strategy worry for him with that. Well, never mind.
Well, as I say that, look at me go.
We called it as everybody's going to follow Nathaniel down. Wouldn't knock him out if he got a black flag, but he was close. He came in pit road hot right there. He was definitely sideways when he downshifted. Little wheel hop, maybe. Oh, that could be a penalty. I'm not very sure, but the whole field
no
behind him
black
came.
flag. Yeah, no black flag for the 66, but a lot of drivers electing to come in. So
I mean, there's as many cars that are on pit road as there are on the racetrack right now.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised. We saw earlier on the stage that it was a pretty mix between some of these drivers of when they came in, but a really big group of cars coming in. But speaking of penalties, unfortunately, the 30 of Jake Pittangoro getting a black flag there, more than likely for speeding on pit road. So not going to be a good end for his night, as he will have to come around and take a penalty. But Nathaniel Landwehr, the first off of pit road. Where will he end up? Right behind Lilith Peters. Parker Malone coming right around him. Can he use those fresh tires to his advantage? Only 35 laps to go. Can he use those tires to push towards the front and make a case for the win? We know he doesn't necessarily need it because of his point situation, but a win wouldn't hurt at all for that driver of the 66.
Yeah, Matt Frady, not a good stop for him. 4 seconds back. Well, it's all changing now, so it's probably going to mess up a little bit. You see everything kind of changing. But I don't think he had a good stop either. Mazzella up in front, he just pitted. So Frady had some problems there on pit road. Did not We may have to send somebody back on the replay to look, but Nathaniel moves around Parker Malone. Parker was one of the first ones to pit road, as I mentioned, but even before Lilith, so he's on worse tires than Nathaniel. But good track position, and we see how much it matters. Obviously, got the track position, but is running about that, 7th or 8th window, and a lot of the guys who already pitted are back to 10th, so he's got a good 5 or 6 second gap on those guys with 35 laps to go, as Lindsay is your leader with Greg Elliott and Peters out there. So can Nathaniel run down Lilith 0.6 of a second for about 2 lap fresher tires? We'll see if the math is math in there. Now there's Frady inside the top 10 battling with Mazzella.
Yeah, quite a ways back. I looked at the, went back and looked at his pit stop. Nothing really unusual there. Looked pretty good in and out of the box. Maybe just not as good of an entry as the rest of the field. We saw some drivers, I mean, with Nathaniel Edward borderline sideways going into the pits. But yeah, it might have just been a little bit of a slower entry than the rest. So he unfortunately loses a little bit of time that he definitely doesn't want to lose, already being on the back foot. Not really helping his case, unfortunately. Still rides in the top 10, but needs a little bit of a late push here with 32 to go to try to make his way towards the front of the field.
So, bottom of the leaderboard, Jonathan Swartz. Not sure what happened. I saw him come back to pit road. There may have been a penalty for that 58 team. One driver who was, I wasn't gonna say safe, but was all right after the first stage, and as well as he was running, was +6. But right now, 17 out. If he isn't able to get his lap back and it runs green till the end, after that penalty, possibly a penalty, that could be huge for Matt Frady and Randy Arms. Not a guaranteed. We'll still have to tally them up. But with a big swing of the points there, that could be playoff implications for Jonathan Swartz. Could he just thrown away his championship hopes?
Yeah, I actually just went and looked back at his pit entry. Pit entry looked good, able to keep it down into speed. But as he was coming off of pit road, he actually crossed the blue line on the exit. So I think he got a penalty for an unsafe pit exit. So yeah, having to come back into pit road for a drive-through, I believe that penalty is. So yeah, down in 17th, a lap down. That could be playoff hopes down the drain for him. We know he needed a pretty decent night, only 6 above the cut line. A lot of other drivers that he's competing against in these playoffs having themselves some pretty decent runs right now. So going to be very close to see if he manages to stay within the top 6 of the points once that checkered flag drops.
Yeah, we're now riding on board with Murphy, watching Randy Arms as he goes by Kyle Ritchie. So I don't know. There's a lot going on here and a lot to play for. Matt has fallen off the back bumper of Mazzella. Kyle Ritchie is having an okay day. He was getting the points in the stage, but isn't having a, run away with it. Nathaniel is slowly catching Lilith. These playoffs and these points, how we have these set up, have created such a show for everybody watching and us included. Because this is coming down to the wire, especially with these 3 racetracks. Some of the best mile and a halves on the schedule being Charlotte, Kansas, and Las Vegas. Slick Las Vegas has made this thing fun, and these drivers are really having to put some will into it and drive it, as we saw from Randy a little bit earlier.
Yeah, I was going to say, just from my own experience, I see a little bit of a fun little glitch there from Parker Malone. But as I was saying, this was definitely a fun track to race for the week. I found myself wanting to keep racing and just kept coming back to it throughout the week. So I'm sure a lot of these drivers are enjoying themselves. Maybe not towards the latter ends of the run with the horrible tires some of these drivers are probably dealing with, but for that beginning run and between with all the racing that these drivers are able to do, looks like they're having a fun time out there for sure.
So as we're riding on board with Kyle here, a little bit about the point situation. We keep looking at it, but Nathaniel is closing in on Lilith Peters now as Lindsay comes to pit road. So this is the lead here with 25 laps to go.
Yeah, I was gonna say a lot of interesting pit stops going on as Jared Lindsay, the last on pit road, finally making his pit stop with only 25 to go. Not sure if that's really gonna help him with how close the rest of the field was able to pull on him. Now Lilith Peters assuming the lead, but Nathaniel Landwehr right behind her, able to use that later pit stop to have those fresher tires and make a move. He's gonna move to the inside. Gonna be a move for the lead. Can Lilith Peters keep herself in the top three? Randy Arms about a second and a half behind. Speaking of which, in a tense battle with Glenn Murphy, Kyle Ritchie lurking right behind the two drivers. Gonna be a very, very intense finish here as these drivers have to get as many points as they can while also trying to keep themselves from the outside or the inside wall. Don't want to be one of the wrecked race cars before we get to the end of the race. Glenn Murphy eyeing the back bumper of that 8 car. Where will he make his move? As like I said before, Kyle Ritchie liking what he sees in front of him through his windscreen. These two battling. Wants as many points as he can. Wasn't super duper safe, but had a good enough points buffer to where he didn't have to have himself an amazing night. Here we are. They're your top 5 right there. Front 2 a little bit farther back from the rest, but still pretty close as we saw Nathaniel Landwehr able to make a move on the one of Lilith Peters. Randy Arms able to put on a stout defense right now for Glenn Murphy. Can he keep the spot? We know he needs every point we can. He will more than likely battle his heart out to make sure he keeps that 3rd spot or even make a late charge for the lead or 2nd place, something. He needs whatever he can get at the moment.
Yeah, and we're seeing the field kind of spread out. You see Mazzella has pulled away from Matt Frady. Now Frady under pressure from Lindsay. A lap down though. So Lindsay's going to drive right by. Matt, kind of a comeback for night. It really wasn't inside the top 10 most of it, just on the edge. He's running 8th. Jared Lindsay is a lap down as well. He had to come to pit road. Mazzella to the inside of Parker Malone. Malone has done a great job on those older tires, only a lap or 2 older, but we saw how much those mattered as there's a little bit of contact up the racetrack. They're going to go. Parker into the outside wall, but shouldn't lose any speed from it. Mazzella kind of had to get the elbows out and get Parker out of the way, but Parker, for his 2nd race with us, ran last week, but did not have the race he wanted. Got wrecked at the start of the race and wasn't able to make it, but came back this week and is showing a lot of speed, even on the older tires. Not the highest I rating, is not on iRacing a lot, but it's cool to see a driver from the late model scene out west is running, and a guy that I know personally and race with. So cool to have that happening, and we're starting to see more and more real-life racers like Randy and Matt and everybody who has raced before anything is starting to come into the league, which is cool to see. So we're seeing their experience come into play. But back up to the front, Murphy is on the back bumper. Randy just hasn't able to set up that pass. What have you seen tonight? Obviously, you have a different perspective than these drivers in the cars that are kind of locked in, can't really see much going around, but we kind of know what lanes have been better tonight. They've been feeling it. But from your point of view here, Alex, how would you set up the pass if you were in Murphy's spot? And I guess if we're closing in on the back bumper of Lilith Peters, how would you set up this pass if you were Murphy or Arms?
I don't know if I'm either one of those two drivers right now. I would do exactly what they're doing right now. We saw from Nathaniel Landwehr earlier that he likes the bottom quite a lot, and it seems to be where you can roll a lot of momentum. We saw right there. Look, Randy Arms able to move on the inside, get great. Oh my God! As Jared Lindsay comes out of nowhere, making it 3 wide off the exit of the corner. We saw one of the latest pit drivers to pit there, so just freshest tires in the field, just trying to make back whatever you can. Is going to be a lap down, unfortunately, but as I was saying before, the bottom is probably going to be where you want to make your move. We saw it right there with Randy Arms and Glenn Murphy both following each other to get past Lilith Peters, so move those two up into the 2nd and 3rd spot as they're going to try to use whatever they got left with 17 to go to catch Nathaniel Landwehr. These two Glenn Murphy not needing the points, but Randy Arms needs everything he can get.
Well, I'm watching the left side of the screen. It's highlighted in the green. That little number is, I can't tell if it's getting smaller, but it's not gotten bigger from Nathaniel to Arms. So a second and a bit now, 2 2/10. It was just a second and 2.5. It's starting to reel in, and I think Murphy is really set to helping that 8 car. They're in the same chat together, obviously teammates, friends, and it could be helping, but right now it's staying so even that it's really not changing. That number hasn't gotten bigger, but it's not gotten smaller. So Randy doing all he can to try to get that win to keep the momentum for next week in Talladega. Zella here, 3 seconds off from Peters. On the old tires, not sure if he's going to be able to run her down, but we saw how important tires were tonight. We don't have another racetrack. We don't have another 1.5 mile or racetrack like Las Vegas in these last few rounds, but if these cars don't get updated or anything change majorly, we saw how big of a difference the tires have made tonight on Lilith pitting so much earlier than everybody, gaining a ton of track position. Yes, not the leader, but was, I mean, from 10th to the lead in the stage, really helped her a ton points-wise, and should, if it were to finish right now, be in the playoffs. So I don't know if these drivers thought that much tire wear would come into play tonight. As Elliott goes by Frady, not for position though. Matt starting to go up the racetrack, up to P7, but still not a great points day for Matt.
Yeah, he's able to recover a little bit. We saw him encounter some struggles earlier on, especially right after the stage. So still looking at recovery to P7 at the moment. Still 13 to go, so anything can happen. But I mean, it's going to be really close on that cut line. He's two below the cut line right now. We see right now Kevin Ritchie only 7 above the cut line, did DNS, so that's going to benefit him. Jonathan Schwartz, obviously we saw had those problems earlier, down in 15th at the moment, so that's going to benefit him a lot. If he can be close to finishing in the top 5.
He just passed Malone. Malone just pitted, so that was another spot for him. He's 9 seconds back from Quisenberry. Or 4 seconds now if it updates. I mean, this could be a big swing. If Schwartz can get there and it's within a point or two, this could help Schwartz a ton if he's able to pass a few cars, or a few cars aren't able to make it. Just want to point that out.
Yeah, that cut line's going to be really close. It's going to be a game of, it could come down to a single point. So yeah, Schwartz going to want to pass every single car he can to get as much of an advantage as possible. But also, Matt Frady is going to want to try to get past Mazzella for every point he can get. But Mazzella, we already know he's also trying to fight for whatever point he can, for what he can get. So yeah, going to be some intense battles coming with 10 to go. We'll see if any of these drivers can get any more points before that checker flag drops. You see right there in the background, Casey Brown not having himself an amazing night tonight. I believe he's down in 11th right now, fighting with the 23 of Ryan Tiller. 15 back on the cutoff line, so not gonna be, might not be in contention after the race tonight, but on board right now with Randy Arms. Glenn Murphy kind of just sitting behind him, but doesn't look like these two are trying to battle it out too much. So maybe Glenn Murphy knows the point situation. Maybe he's just trying to hold off here and maybe not look to go too aggressive. Maybe gonna wait till last couple of laps there. We saw Nathaniel Landwehr there. Pretty interesting mistake there, just a little bit of a touch on the outside wall. Doesn't seem to affect him too much, but yeah, Randy Arms still a second back on the driver of the 66. So we'll see if he's able to make any last lap, like late charges to get as much time as he can.
I mean, it was 1.2 10 laps ago. Now it's down to his second. We saw the mistake for Nathaniel. If that thing's starting to get tight, with Glenn tucked up underneath Randy's back bumper, it should loosen Randy up a little bit to help him, but it's back to 1.1. Maybe Nathaniel's feeling the pressure, but he's felt the pressure a lot this season, and it hasn't really changed. Randy throws it in there, gets it down to about a second, now back up, so doesn't look like Randy's going to have the speed overall. Kyle is here. Peters still in P5, so a great run for Peters. Got back to the 5th spot. Frady still 0.6 of a second back from Mazzella. Everybody's kind of locked in, and the biggest look, I guess, is Quisenberry and Schwartz. Is that 1 point going to matter if Schwartz is able to get there 9 seconds back now? It doesn't look like it. But right now, it's coming down to the wire. The stage really threw a wrench into everybody's plan, I think, and changed how this second half of the race was run from everybody.
Yeah, I mean, we saw earlier, Lilith Peter's the first one to go onto pit road before the stage came out, and it worked out perfectly for her. She was able to come in to second. Honestly, if Trevor didn't stay out towards that end of the stage, she easily would have won the stage. But I think it influenced a lot of drivers to think that maybe pitting earlier was going to be the best call for the second half of this race. Even I thought the same thing, but here we are. It seems like being the earliest to pit really didn't benefit as much as I thought it would. I mean, we've only seen one pit stop since that stage, so maybe that's what it was. The fact that it was only one stop, and that you were going to want to probably stay out as much as you can and maybe split the race. So yeah, still possibly a top 5 here for Lilith Peter, so not a bad end on the night for her, but maybe would have want to call the strategy a little bit different, and not just for her, maybe for some other drivers as well.
Well, and we saw Parker there go by, and we see how big the tires are, which I did not expect tonight. Obviously, a big play, but the tires has been pretty big here. Casey Brown in 12th, Tiller in 11th, trying to pass Trevor, the stage winner. So would I guess if the finale or the end of the race gave off stage points, he'd finish in the stage, I guess, but for 10th. But right now he's sideways coming off the corner. But these cars look to burn the rear tires off a lot tonight, and it's cool to see. Tiller going to try to have a run. Tiller, another playoff driver, but did not have. I think he said he wasn't able to make all the races, so he gave up his spot pre-race or before the playoffs started. So cool to see the camaraderie in the league happen like that. Tiller looking to the outside now. But back to the front of the field. Well, Kyle Ritchie has gotten around Murphy, and the gap has changed to 2 seconds. So Arms has lost the back of Nathaniel, and we're seeing that change. Can Kyle get by Randy? It's not going to matter. Both of these two, from my calculation, should be in. Kyle's in no matter what after the day he's had. Randy is fighting for it, so he's not going to give it up easy. But after the unfortunate luck last week, Randy and Matt got together. It knocked both of them out heading into tonight, and they're looking for a comeback. Randy doing all he can to try to hold off Kyle right behind him. He's going to have to do it for one more lap. As Nathaniel is going to come off of turn 4, and he's going to take the white flag here in Vegas.
Yeah, it might not be as much of a crucial point as we think it could be. We'll see how it ends up once the flag falls and points are released. But at the end of the day, it could also be a huge point swing between these two. It could be a battle of a point right now between that cutoff line. So Randy Arms going to do his best to defend against the 76 of Kyle Ritchie as we watch Nathaniel Landwehr come across 3 and 4. Is Kyle Ritchie going to try to make a move on the outside? But Nathaniel Landwehr coming off with 3 and 4.
Nathaniel is going to win the round 1 finale in Vegas, and will lock him in to the second round of the playoffs. It's a battle of the line, but Randy was able to get it over Kyle, and we will not end this. Wow, Kyle tried to charge around the outside. Randy got on the gas and tried to wash up to make sure, but we will not end until the points are situated. So we will have the final 6 drivers and heading into next week. What a race. Definitely a big one. And here is the field. Nathaniel, Randy, Kyle, Glenn, Lilith, Matt, Jonathan, Randy, Chris, and Trevor, the top 10. Then you have Tiller, Brown, Quisenberry, Schwartz, Lindsay, Elliott, Malone, Pinagaro, Garrett, and McElroy to round off the top 20. So Kevin Ritchie, not a good day for him. Definitely knocked him out. And Akabe McClowney there at the back. So, yeah, Nathaniel gets another win on the season and good momentum heading into the final round. Let's go ahead and drag him in here. Take it away here, Alex.
Nathaniel Landwehr, you got a copy, my man.
Yeah, I got you.
Well, welcome back to the booth. We got to talk to you earlier while you were running before. Man, just the class of the field. We saw you take the lead, and you never looked back. So 2.5 second lead there at the end. Tell us about the rest of your race, my man.
After we came down from that cycle, saw that I came out in a good spot and just kind of maintained the tires and just kind of made sure that I wasn't going to get past. And if I had any risk of being passed, that I had the tire to fight for it.
Yeah, well, we saw a lot of interesting strategy go on today throughout the field. Some interesting calls, especially in the state or before the stage, and then even after the stage, seemed to influence a lot of drivers on how they were going to pit. What was your thought process behind that, and were you set on a strategy coming to the last pit stop, or were you kind of tossing and turning, trying to figure out when you wanted to pit?
Yeah, that last stop there, kind of just the default strategy that I got, just kind of run it out of gas or at least make it a decent stop a little bit after the halfway point. Before the stage though, that was, oh my gosh, the truck spilled all my water. Before the stage though, a lot of good strategy there. I took 2 tires with low fuel, and there was people all around on 2 tires, 4 tires, saving fuel, and it was just, that was a good strategy call by Trevor there to win that stage.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like I said, a lot of interesting strategy. At the end of the day, it worked out for you, able to take the win. We knew you were coming in with a lot of points gap, up 34 from the cutoff before the race, plus any stage points you got earlier. So, yeah, definitely a good night for you. And Gabe?
Yeah, we know. Obviously, it's a different schedule to end the season. We have Talladega next week, which is there's some skill in it, and you're one of the best at the super speedways that we've seen all season long, but there's a lot of luck involved. And then we go to 2 short tracks with Martinsville and Phoenix. What is your thoughts heading into Talladega? Or are you going to try to play it safe for the points, or are you going to try to go after it? And then at Martinsville and Phoenix, how good do you think you are at those 2 racetracks?
Oh, Talladega, probably just try to run up front. If we can just keep it locked in those first 2 or 3 rows, we can stay out of a lot of the mess. Martinsville, that's kind of going to be a struggle area, but as long as we can kind of put it, top 5, top 10, I think we've got a good gap. And then Phoenix, I'm good at Phoenix, so we might bring that one home with a checkered flag in our hand, or at least give it enough of a run to have plenty of safety here. So unless I junk it at Dega next week, should be pretty safe, I feel like.
Well, I think that you are in one of the championship favorites, if not the championship favorite, heading into it. So, 3 races left. We will be seeing you next week. Go ahead and give your shout outs and who you'd like to thank.
Yep, shout outs to you guys for putting on the show. Always fun to watch back, always fun to watch live for the people that can watch it, like my wife downstairs who maybe is watching. I don't know. She was watching it earlier. Let's see, admin team, good on them. They just put in all the work to make this happen every week. Oh, she just yelled from downstairs. She definitely is watching. All the drivers, fun group of people. The sponsor, Outlier Speed Co. I'll give it a little plug. If you want to get oval setups, pretty solid. Doesn't help me here in this league, but that's what I run. We're a good team over there. A lot of fun with that. And just, I don't know, shout out to iRacing for putting this product together and let me live the dream that I can't live in real life because I was not born into hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Preach! Anyway, we will talk to you next week, and good luck there, Nathaniel.
Yes, sir. I'll see you.
Nathaniel there gets her done. Comes away with the win. Randy Arms came up second, or was it Kyle? It was Randy, right?
Yeah, Randy got him by about a 10th at the end there. So, yeah, good little push there at the end to make sure he kept second there.
Alrighty, let's go ahead and get Randy in here. He is doing the points as well. So let's get a word in with him. Alex, take it away.
Oh, Randy Arms, you got a copy, my man.
Hello.
Oh, well, welcome back to the booth. We saw you make a nice little charge there to keep second place, fighting off Kyle Ritchie and Glenn Murphy there at the end. Unfortunately, not able to make a late charge for the win, but still a great point for you. We know you needed pretty much every point you could get, sitting 7 below the cut line before the race, but still coming home second. Thoughts on your race?
Yeah. It was an alright race. Kind of struggled there on the very long run, which kind of surprised me. Vegas has usually been one of my better tracks, so kind of didn't expect to fall off like I did, but tried to save him a little better this time. I was able to was able to hold off those guys for second. I needed, just like you said, I needed every point I needed. With Kevin having issues, I think it came down to me and Frady, so I knew it was going to be close. So I told Kyle earlier, I said I probably would have wrecked you just to try to stay in, or say wrecked myself just to stay in second because I knew it was going to be really close.
Yeah, well, yeah, I was gonna say that's another big thing too. We saw it was really close. Had a couple interesting shakeups there in the beginning of the race, like you mentioned. Kevin Ritchie not able to finish tonight's race, so gonna be a big factor when it comes to points. But on top of points, obviously strategy being a really big thing today. We saw a couple drivers pull some interesting strategies. Obviously for the stage win, had the guy stay out for the entire stage. So, what was your thoughts on strategy tonight? And did you have any interesting tricks up your sleeve that you were thinking of pulling out tonight, and maybe trying to pull a fast one on some of the drivers?
No, I just tried to do the strategy that would, or say, gave me the most points. Stage points. I didn't think anyone would save enough to, to win the stage like that. Or maybe I could have tried that, but yeah, just tried to do a strategy that could give me the most points and just keep me in contention. To try to stay in the playoffs.
Well, speaking
Yeah,
of the
well-
playoffs, I wanted to ask. I know that you're updating the points right now, or you updated them. I'm gonna wait till you make the nice looking thingy so I can post it on the stream when it looks nice. But I guess you can just tell us and give us a sneak peek who the final six is, then I'll post it on the screen. But are you in? You're in next round, right?
Yeah, it looks like I end up beating Freddie by 2 points there. So it's gonna be Nate, Kyle, Mazzella, or say Lilith, Swartz, and myself. There's the top 6.
Wow. So it came down to 2 points.
Yep.
We were talking about it and wondering how Matt was compared because he didn't have a good race. You didn't have a great stage, but neither did he. And then Kevin had his issue. Swartz was a lap down at the end. So
Yep.
he messed that up. So we thought Swartz might be out of it, and that could have helped Matt. But how stressful was it in this playoff format? How you guys were racing? And after not a great week last week, you were able to come back to it. So just kind of talk to us about how your emotions were during the race there.
Yeah, I came in kind of thinking I really didn't have much of a chance. But when Kevin had his issues, I knew that kind of, or say, opened the door for us. Was able to beat Frady by 3 points, I think, in the stage. So that only made us 2 points apart. So I knew had to beat him by like 3 or so points. I didn't know if he had led a lap or not. So just trying to hang on, try to save my tires. I felt good after the stage break, and then I fell off really hard at the end there before our green flag pit stop. And I was like, oh boy, I got my work cut out now, because when I came off pit road, I think Freddie was like right behind me. So I just knew I had to make up a couple spots and then try to just save and not bleed there at the end. And a couple more laps, I don't think I would have made it, but had to kind of pull some blocks there on the last lap and stay in front of Kyle and Glenn, and just say worked out there for us.
Well, it is cool to see you able to make it to that round, and it's going to be interesting. Obviously, Talladega, Martinsville, and Phoenix, 3 different racetracks, and we are looking forward to it. So go ahead and give your shout outs and who do you like to thank?
Yeah, I just want to thank everyone that came out tonight. Still had a good field, even for as late as we are in the season. And that obviously helps when we have a points battle, when we have more people. So yeah, just want to thank everyone, or say everyone that came out. Hope everyone keeps coming out, just just help out with the points battle, and at least make it interesting. And thank you guys for putting on the broadcast.
Yes, sir. Well, we love doing it, and we love this league, so we are looking forward to these next 3 weeks and then what the off season has to task the show. So thank you, Randy, and we'll be talking to you here next week.
All right, thank you.
Getting home P3, able to make it after kind of an up and down night. Kyle Ritchie comes home P3.
Yo, Richie, you got a copy?
Hello?
Oh, well, welcome to the booth. We saw you make a little bit of a late charge there in a really intense battle at the end with Glenn Murphy and Randy Arms came down to quite literally the last lap there for you, and as a battle of just a couple of points between that cutoff line. Tell us about your race.
My race was quiet. It was nice and quiet. Nothing. It rained horrible, and then we didn't run so horrible, and then we finished good.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say sounds about right. We saw you kind of up and down throughout the field for tonight. Some interesting strategy calls from a lot of drivers, but yeah, I was gonna say especially in stage one, very interesting strategy from a couple of drivers. But what was going through your mind in terms of strategy? Was there a certain strategy that you wanted to take tonight, or were you kind of was fluid tonight in terms of what you wanted to do?
No, I still haven't figured out the science or math, I guess, behind what the perfect stage one is, because you never know when the caution's going to come out. And I think someone stayed out and saved fuel and made it to the end of the stage, and I did last week, obviously. So the first stage is such a question mark on how good you can run, and then after that, it's usually just a one-stop race if fuel lets you do that. And it was just managing tires, which I didn't do very well tonight, so we got to work on that.
Yeah, we saw a lot of tire strategy come into play. What was your thoughts about that? We saw a lot of that with Lilith Peters pitting a lot earlier than a lot of people, and helped her a ton with the stage points and things like that. But we don't have a racetrack that is similar to Vegas coming up, so we'll see how that comes into play. But yeah, what did you think about the tire wear?
Yeah, it was weird because there, as much tire fall off as there was, it was nearly impossible to pass. So like, you wanted to be the first car on new tires, but if you were on tires that were too old at the end of a run, you were screwed. It was just a really weird race because Vegas you can't pass. It's a one and a half lane track at most, and all the bumps in 1 and 2 don't let you do much. So you need track position, but you also need tires at the same time. So it was kind of a difficult tire race.
Yeah, and we saw that come into play a lot, but you were pretty all right on the okay side heading into tonight, but a little up and down points wise. You were able to make it to the second round or to the next round and the finale. What do you think about the last 3 racetracks that we got in the final round?
Yeah, the first race was going to be all luck, so I don't have high hopes for next week. And then Martinsville, as much as I hate Martinsville as a racetrack, I'm pretty good there. Me and Matt and Nate are pretty fast there, so I think that'll be a fun race. And then Phoenix, oh, don't even get me started on Phoenix. We're just going to hope we're still in it by Phoenix, and if not, yeah, that's all I'm going to say.
In the Xfinity car, it ain't too bad.
It's still pretty
with
one
this
lanes.
league, it's great.
But yeah, this league is great because we have the drivers to make any racetrack great that sucks on iRacing.
Yeah, see, we make up for iRacing's mistakes, but
We sure do.
yeah, heading into Talladega next week. We hope to see you there, and go ahead, give your shout outs and who you'd like to thank.
Shout out you guys for broadcasting and everyone that shows up weekly. Also have a special shout out to Mikey and all of his buddies that started watching your stream like last week, and they've become big fans of the league. So shout out to them, and shout out to Mikey because he had to work. He's still at work. He's been working for like 14 hours today, and unfortunately couldn't make it.
Yeah, poor Mikey. I didn't mention it tonight, but Mikey was not able to make it, so that kind of sucked.
That's okay. He's still
boy in the race.
He still outran Wyatt somehow. So
that's not hard to do. I think I can start going out there and run laps, and I might be able to beat him. So, anyway, shout out Wyatt. But we'll let you go here, Kyle, and talk to you next week.
Thank you, guys.
So I'm going to pull the points up on the screen. Randy was not able to make it all look nice, but that was the ending for it. Nathaniel up 31 points. He gained a lot there on everybody. And then it was Kyle Ritchie, Jonathan Swartz, Lilith Peters, and then Mazzella, Peters, Swartz, and Randy. And just behind we're in that second row where it says the points, and then to the right of it, 2. That was the cutoff, was 2 points. Matt needed 2 spots. If Kyle would have got around if Kyle would have got around Randy there at the end into 3 and 4, that would have been it. That's all Matt needed other than just one more spot. So if Matt knew that, but it came down to a 2-point gap on the deal right there, which I think is I like this playoff format. It's the best way to do it, to have some entertainment, but also spice it up here at the end and reward the ones who deserve it. So unfortunate for Matt in his hometown, not able to make it, but Randy was there after a great run. And yeah, what a night here, Alex.
Yeah, I was gonna say very, very. I mean, I wouldn't say up and down night, but it was interesting to say the least. Very interesting strategy tonight from a lot of drivers, which was fun to see. Always fun to see some drivers test out some fun stuff. I mean, we saw stage one. I didn't think anybody was gonna try to save and not pit, but they made it work. And then later on throughout the race, we saw some really good battles. I knew it was going to come down to just a couple of points, and here we are talking about the 2 points for the cutoff line for Randy and Matt. So, yeah, hard battles tonight, and definitely looking forward to next week. Though we're going to have a very, very interesting round here with these next 3 racetracks for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be a big one with Talladega involved. Anything could happen, so I'm super excited for it. But that is going to do it from Las Vegas. We appreciate everybody for watching Apex Sim Sports Racing 120. And we will see y'all next Tuesday night in Talladega. Hopefully see y'all at the Boulevard. But round 2, start of the playoffs, Talladega. I mean, what else do you want? The craziness starts, and then the last 2 races are 2 short tracks. Get the angers going at Talladega and Martinsville, and then send them all to Phoenix. It's going to be a fun one. So we hope to see y'all there. Have a good one.